Hey there, my friends. It's Bill McDonald, and today I'm the Common Sense Math Doctor, using common sense to help your students make visual, verbal, auditory, and kinesthetic connections. So let's start by looking at the picture behind me. You can see a sun rising or setting. So your students are, first of all, going to have to know, in terms of graphing, how the relationship works between the sun rising, the sun setting, on the horizon, the eastern or the western horizon, because that has to do a lot with how you graph in the four quadrants. So think of this. I'm going to put my hands up. The sun comes up in the east, in the Atlantic Ocean, in the AM. It goes up, it goes vertical, up or down, horizontal, go left or right. Vertical, up or down. Horizontal, go left or right. So when we go left, sorry, the sun goes down in the west, in the PM, in the Pacific Ocean. And so if they can think of at least the United States and have relative terms, so the sun moves up at an arc, crosses over us in the world, and comes down in an arc, going from east to west, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. But the horizon is the line when you first see the sun coming up over the horizon or going down over the horizon in the east. So with that in mind, let's teach kids something easy that they see every day before we teach them something hard. Now, for those of you who have done my math trainings, you're going to see every year now we're going to be getting constructed responses, which would be extended constructed responses. Here's the plan for an essay. The short constructed responses where you just need the answer, and the evidence, example one or more. And for all of you reading and writing teachers, everything above this red line is going to be non-multiple choice questions that your kids could get on the test worth 1 or 2 points. Now, number 3 is a short constructed response because there's nothing there. It's just an empty box. They have to enter text in the form of a word or a phrase. And sometimes some of the subjects are going to have questions like that. But if you look down here, the one we're going to look at today, if it's below the line, it means it could be for any other subject other than reading and writing. So number 10 says graphing, graph responses, including a number line, a bar point function graph, solution sentences, and then 11, another mathing. Equation editor, students will enter equations and inequalities. This is going to be more like number 10. All right. So since we don't get to write on the test because they don't allow a lot of strategies, except for highlighting and very little things in the notes. What I suggest that you have your kids do, because they can do what I call lab work, L as in lined paper, A as in and B as in blank paper. There's certain minimum amounts you want your kids to do on lined or blank paper. So if that's the lab, that's those kids being doctors and taking their test strategies to the lab to show you. And so what you might do with some of the kids is make them write the word rules on some of the questions on line paper, which is basically read the question, then the problem solo, either softly on the test situation or with a partner, loudly in a class or group. So that way they're seeing it, saying it, hearing it, listening, thinking of strategies that they've been taught, and then hopefully begin to write something. The U is to understand the words in the question, okay? You can also use the L of rules. We're going to look for and label all the key numbers in the words on the computer and the paper because you can highlight, okay? You can also use graph paper and blank paper to do these things. They don't care. So then you start doing what they call the E of rules. Evaluate, start to think, what plan have I been taught? And once I remember, then I'll execute my strategies, not ugly. Eliminate extra information so you don't have distractors and cause you to pick an answer that has nothing to do with the question. Eliminate or explain the wrong answers after you've done working it out. Select the correct answer. Search for errors before you submit, and then finally submit your answer on the computer. That's a structure, that's an order that your kids can do online. So what we're going to look at today is a 6th grade question. It only had a state average percent of 23% correct. So you see there's a period, and a question mark. So the question is the one with the question mark, and sometimes it's not understanding the key words, so you don't know what to label, you don't know what to mark. So let's do a quick review after I read you the problem and the question. The graph shows point R. That's in quadrant 4. So when the sun comes up in the morning in our northern hemisphere, goes across the sky to quadrant 2, and then it sets down at night on the horizon, then goes to the southern hemisphere and keeps doing this to quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, surrounding our planet. And so if your kids don't remember that, you have to remember quadrant 1 is positive horizontal, positive vertical. Quadrant 2, negative horizontal, go left or right, vertical up or down. Quadrant 2, you go up. Quadrant 3 is negative, negative, go left or right. We're going to go left, and we're going to go down. And then quadrant 4 is go positive, go right, and then go down. So because they set a horizontal distance of 2 and 1/2 units, well, each of these little boxes, these little lines here is one unit. And so I need to go from point R. So probably what happened is your students stayed in quadrant 4, which is where R was, even though it didn't tell them that. Your kids had to know how the 4 quadrants work. If they went 2 and 1/2 units horizontal, go left or right, if I go 1, 2, and 1/2, they would have ended up over here on 4 positive and negative 1/2. And so if they entered that in there, they didn't pay attention. They wanted the one that was in quadrant 3. So they have to make sure they understand where the quadrants are. So if I go, like it said, to the left, so here's my sun coming up in the east, in the AM, in the Atlantic, going down in the PM, in the west, in the Pacific. So that's the horizon there where the sun appears and disappears, A and D, okay? Then your kids had to know that they had to be in quadrant 3. So the only way to get horizontal, go left or right, they had to go left 1, 2, and 1/2 units. So it would have been, you start on the axis of 0, 0. So it would be negative because it's left. 0 and 5/10, negative 0.5. Negative 0.5 would be the horizontal. And so whenever the kids ask, well, which one do I do first? Well, in the alphabet, horizontal comes before vertical. Another way to think of it is a plane goes either left or right down the runway, then it can go up in the air. A submarine will usually go left or right, and then it goes under into the negative numbers down here, okay, on the segment. So then it says 2.5. I have to get to that point, so I got to go negative 0.5 for the x, negative 0.5, and that's going to be our left horizontal, and then we're going to go down 1. So that would be, so if you look at quadrant 3, it's negative, negative. So it'd be negative 0.5 and negative 1. And so I just double check with what the state said. So there you have your negative 0.5 and negative 1. And so I think the big thing is your kids either didn't know horizontal, they didn't know how to break a unit in half, or they weren't taught the 4 quadrants correctly, because 23% is not even good guessing, but because they had to enter that into there was probably nothing there, and it was sort of like a text entry, or they had to enter it into some coordinates. That would have been what it would look like. So we're going to go left, and then we're going to go down. So that means left and down is always going to be negative, negative, and in quadrant 3. So I would suggest that you join our Common Sense online recorded ongoing math that I'm going to have every single day. From here on out, I will probably take Saturdays off. I apologize for that, but I want a break to be with family and with my faith and my friends. So every day except Saturday, I'll make sure I send you some math videos, lessons, for those of you who are in the Common Sense Math online. And then in the second semester, you get to sign up for the in-person math trainings in 10 different cities and dates. So if you email me in the comments, if you email me at writing_doctor@yahoo.com, or message me, put in the comments information about the math Common Sense. Right now we have it on sale for about 9 more days, but another week for, I believe it's $90. We'll save $10. We're going to be emailing almost every school district and many campuses across the valley and across Texas with our in-person trainings and online recorded. It's a great value. Instead of paying somebody $2 or $3 grand, $5 grand, sometimes 10 grand to come to your campus or district, you get to pay just $100 a teacher. And instead of having just a 6-hour training, I'm guiding you probably 100 to 200 hours with all of these lessons and using my math resources as a supplement to what you're already using. So if you are a math teacher, then I suggest that if you're looking at this in the reading group, then join Come On Sense Math, and that way you can see all of the updates. When you go to watch this in YouTube, please do me a favor and click like and subscribe in my YouTube page, so that way whenever I do post a new video in math, reading, motivation, or faith, because two groups that you may not know about much are, I have one called How to Turn Their Horns to Halos, Managing and Motivating Difficult Students by Filling in 8 Emotional and Mental Gaps. And so you've been seeing me post a few things about that. And the other one for people of faith is called Praising You in the Mountains when things are going great, but still trusting you in the valleys when they're not. Just helping you overcome discouragement, depression, and defeat. Because as a person of faith, I wouldn't do the Lord justice if I didn't help areas that had nothing to do with content and curriculum. God bless you guys. If you're a reading teacher watching this and you watched all the way to the end, go ahead and share or tag one of your math teacher friends so they can see how to do graphs when it comes to coordinate planes. These are not the way, but a way that I use to help my students. God bless you guys and have a wonderful day.